Florida, 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 St. Augustine. Wickiwachi Springs. Fun, sun, sand, and sea. And believe it or not, gators can sing.
Alright, so we're gonna go into the Medieval Torture Museum here in St. Augustine. We already got our tickets over at the Potter's Wax Museum. Yeah, I've never been to this. I don't think it's that old. I don't think it's been here that long.
No.
Where you have to go up? Okay. Okay.
I like that it says 5-star Google review.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, don't rate us, give us 5 stars.
Yeah. Alright, we're getting ready to go in. We got our tokens here. The guy told us there's like an augmented reality.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Alright. We're in. We got our audio guide going. Is this where you started? You go over here. Oh, okay.
The most noble criminals were allowed to give the execution command themselves. A later version of the garrote, with a sharp iron screw instead of a loop, was also called a catalan.
Yikes, that's one big spike. Yikes, don't torture me with spikes.
Jacob is an illustration of a monstrous injustice. He dedicated his life to construct beautiful
Oh my
buildings,
God.
but his last work was a castle built by order of the Duke of Burgundy. The castle was so beautiful that the Duke ordered that Jacob be blinded so that he could never create a more perfect building. Renee was tied and led to a forge. One of the Duke's soldiers heated a metal rod of the coals and lifted it to the unfortunate man's eyes. He tried to walk.
Shame masks. I mean, if all this was to just like shame people, I would rather have this than anything else. And here's this Sicilian bull.
According to legend, Fafnir asked the blacksmith who had made the bull to climb inside to check whether everything was done exactly to specification.
Alright, so they would put somebody in this thing and like roast them to death.
Desecrating the symbols of faith, Torquemada himself supervised the interrogation. Carlos was stretched on
So yeah, I mean, hanging is not really torture. It's a pretty fast death, isn't it? I mean,
hot irons, forcing him to sign a document on the application of the profession of lawyer.
here's one of the stretching racks.
Torquemada ordered to shred Carlos's muscles with hooks. Carlos
I guess this one wasn't actually like for stretching. They just put you on this with the spikes on it. Hand torture. Cutting off fingers and stuff. It's like cutting people's hands. I mean, I think there's more nerves in your hands than any other part of your body, so like having your fingers cut off and stuff is probably one of the most painful things ever. Decapitation. This should be called like the Torture and Execution Museum, right? Like half of these things like literally kill you like within like seconds or whatever. Wow, this is pretty savage. Looks like Leatherface, right? Doesn't it? Looks like Leatherface. Wow. savage. There's just a guillotine. I mean, I'd rather have be beheaded than any of the other stuff, right? I mean, I think being beheaded would be pretty quick, right?
The manual guillotine.
You have a bunch of skulls.
Yeah. This is 12. Oh my god.
There's just a whole bunch of different devices. Stocks.
Why would people like this though?
Like what? They didn't like it. It was like a part of like authoritarian like doctrine.
No, they like it.
The Judas cradle. Yeah, that's a pretty savage one right there. I don't think I'd want that one.
What, you don't want that?
I don't think so.
Hands of the ropes in their hands begin to pull them. Thanks to a system of hanging blocks, this does not require much.
I wonder if like S&M people come in here and they're like, oh, this is, I want this. I want you to do this to me. Like, can you imagine that? Whoa. Playing. Alright, this probably is the worst thing that you could ever get. Because this is like being skinned alive and you're...
This is martyrs.
It's what?
Martyrs.
What does that mean?
That maybe.
Oh.
This torture was sometimes used as part of public execution in medieval Europe and existed until the beginning of the 18th century. Robert was sentenced to public.
I mean, that'd be worse than being burned alive. That would be worse than anything you can imagine, right? Just a ton of devices and stuff on the walls. Nice. That looks like looks like Marty Feldman's dead.
Cool.
Flagellation. What's crazy is that like a lot of this type of torture was done by like the Spanish Inquisition and stuff, and it was supposed to be like the Christian, like, was it like the Spanish Catholics, right? And like you'd think there'd be more of that in here, right? But it's crazy to think that they did the same stuff to people that like they did to Jesus, but it was like in the name of Christianity, right? Like, isn't that crazy?
She became terrified.
Oh my God, that guy's face. Are you kidding me right now?
Interrogation of a witch.
Torture was carried out by Burned Bill. His face was burned
Burned Bill.
when he was 13 years old. Since then, war
God.
no girl paid attention to him. But once he got the
Oh, I was just talking about the Spanish Inquisition. That's what this is.
Bill tied Martha to the table and took out flat tongs. He squeezed sensitive areas of her skin.
Whoa.
Then slashed it.
What are these like? What are these things made out of? It's like, what is it, foam or what is that fabric?
He's like so happy to tell us about
Yeah, I don't like it. Here's an electric chair. I mean, this is modern, right? Like,
This makes me think of the Green Mile.
yeah. Braking on the wheel. Oh no. Ugh. So what, these, I mean, I don't even need to say what those were, what they did with those reads. Maybe this is what that woman was talking about. She's like, they went, she's like, they went too far. I don't really understand why the spikes are on the outside on most of these, like.
A net trap is a device designed to safely hold and move particularly dangerous criminals. A classic trap is a ring on a long stick, like an oven for hot pots. If the jailer was clever enough, he could easily indicate the direction of movement to the offender with a simple gesture. If the offender resisted, he was pressed against the wall, squeezing his atoms out of one end to his tongue until he began to choke. For violent
Wow.
criminals, there was an improved collar.
Like ripped your like face open to make you have a fake smile. Punishment for gambling. That seems fake, right?
At first, he
The heretic's fork.
with despair and to accept the losses and quit. But Henry smiled foolishly and bet again. This did not stop him. He started to borrow
Oh
from
my god.
his debts.
Squeezing your head.
Lenders demanded their money back. The
Vice for your head.
Ew.
professor of philosophy, Luciano, teachings of Copernicus. One student saw the professor studying a manuscript listed on the index of banned books at the trial
Slow torture of prisoners during the time of the Inquisition.
described by Copernicus.
I guess this would just like poke you in the neck.
Caused him to keep his head tilted back. The punctured skin would develop sore. The philosopher's weak muscles are heavy. His back.
Ceviche. I think this is like more atmospheric without the audio, honestly. Right? I think it's more atmospheric without the audio tour. Tongue nailing. Punishment for spreading gossip, slander jokes about the government. Wow. Impalement.
They were forced to bend over, and a placard explaining who they were and why they were worthy of condemnation was placed on the pillory. Passers-by threw mud, rotten food, excrement, and sometimes even stone.
Oh my God. Brutal. Look at this.
Paul Francois bold like Chandler. He didn't like gossip and very rarely discussed politics or faith. One day, he was very unlucky. He was going on the market down good food and told the fish dealer.
Got the Iron Maiden here.
To his dismay, the merchant did not laugh, and Francois was seized by the guards. He was accused of assaulting a noble person, and because of his sincere repentance, he was given
This looks a lot more legit than like the ones that are at the Ripley's, right?
The executioner had to grab his hair, lean his chin against the pillar, and quit the drop of a hammer, a large forged nail punched through the flesh and entered the pillar. Principles known as with pain and stumps his feet feebly.
The prayer cross.
The prince of the Malash called his treasurer into his chambers.
It's just weird how they would like make these torture devices like based on like religious imagery when like a lot of it was done in the name of like Catholicism and stuff. Like, isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Seems sacrilegious to me, right?
Yeah.
Like the Spanish Inquisition doesn't make a lot of sense to me, right?
Yeah.
It's like dunking them in water or what?
An example of such cunning is bathing a witch. If there was a pond nearby, it would be used. If not, a large wooden barrel would be filled with water. The would-be witch would be hung upside down and dipped.
I wonder if this is even gonna be like, if I'm even able to put this on YouTube, right? Like, it's pretty darn graphic, right? Oh, I hate, this is one of the worst ones. This is where they would put a rat in a cage and put it on top of your body, and the rat would like eat through your body while you're alive.
You mean that's not your favorite one?
No, I think that's the worst one. No, I mean flaying is probably the worst, but this is probably the second worst, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't say wrong.
That's pretty damn bad. I mean, maybe I'd rather have my skin torn off than that.
The thing about this is like, if he was drowning, he was posthumously justified. So like, if you were innocent, you were just dead.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense, right?
Of course.
That's why I don't know like about the validity of a lot of the history behind a lot of this stuff, right? It's like almost unbelievable. Oh no. Oh my god. Ripping your tongue out. Jesus. Tongue cutting. Burning at the stake. Out of the curse that flew right by you. Everyone's seen this in a lot of like fiction stuff. The pendulum. I mean that's from Edgar Allan Poe, right? Yeah. The Pit and the Pendulum. And it says, see, like with this, it says, although Poe claimed that the pendulum was used by the Spanish Inquisition, there's no historical evidence for it. Like, some of this stuff I think is made up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Pull slowly. Man, that's kind of dangerous to have this. Like, what if somebody was like laying on this to like take a picture or whatever? I mean, even though it's not sharp, it could hurt somebody probably. Now, come on, that's an outlandishly big skeleton there. Like, it was like the skeleton of a giant or something. Wooden gossiper's violin. It's pretty crazy though. Now here's like the common like image you see when you think of like the Spanish Inquisition and like the executioners and stuff. This like hooded guy. Now why did they do that? Like did they like wear a hood so that people didn't know who they were?
Mm-hmm.
So they sawed off his hands. Well, that's all that you get for being a pedophile, like if you're accused of like witchcraft, you're literally like burned to death or like flayed, but like you rape kids and all you get is your hands cut off and have to sit in a cage.
Expressed everything they wanted to say to him. If he had
Then what?
been put in a cage,
listening.
people would have torn his body to shreds with their bare hands. Enraged visitors cursed and spat in his face. But the worst that he heard were the words of one woman. She told him that his execution will help him earn for his saw teeth in his body. Before the execution, Edward Black was on the corner of the bar. In the first minute, she squirmed and fell to the floor, but the investigators tied her hands.
Oh, you're tied now.
Count Spencer.
Scalding appeals.
She was hired to kidnap Count Spencer's son.
This.
The count was outraged and wanted to beat the woman to death.
These figures are like
Wife persuaded him.
really crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
The trial was overseen by a young fellow.
I mean,
Why did you decide to kidnap the child?
they don't even make shit that's this crazy looking for like haunted walkthroughs and attractions and stuff. Like
The judge thought
some really gruesome shit.
decided to warm your feet. Mary was tied with edge and her ankles
Oh
were
my
shackled
God.
to pads. The water in the cast iron vat was boiling. The executioner picked up a long ladle and showed it to Mary.
Is this the last room? You're a saint? In between a saint and a knight.
I want to be a witch.
Yeah. It looks like the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz or something.
The Earl ordered the punishment of the elderly gossip. Francesca was taken to the nearest police
Elderly
station and was
gossip.
put in a gossip island for the whole day.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like some crazy ass censorship, but like not really anything that crazy.
It's ridiculous. Like, we're bigger and we were saint and knight, and like if you're just like slightly less than us, you'd be considered a
It's
witch.
probably because back then, if you were fat, you were rich. So like rich people would be closer to like royalty or whatever, or like,
Oh my God.
right? Makes sense. Now here, I'm just gonna say something. Okay, I think that this witch it's cool and all, but like it kind of like doesn't fit in with the rest of the stuff here. Like a real witch doesn't look like a green goblin. But like this would be a cool prop for a haunted house, right?
If a woman weighed more than 99 pounds, she was innocent. That's
Yeah.
like who decides these?
Oh, so it's the opposite of what I said? The medal for drunkenness.
Oh my God. Is that a true person?
A true person? What does that mean?
Look. That can't be true.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty outlandish, right?
Oh my God.
That looks like the guy out front. Like, what is up with the dimensions of his face and like body and everything, right? Like a lot of the figures in here were pretty like well made and realistic, and then they like have that in the witch and it like doesn't vibe. Spanish boot.
3, 2, 1. Cute. Thank you. Yeah.
Torture shoes.
That'll hurt me.
Shackles with weights. The heavier shackles with stone block or iron weight were meant for
That's what I was saying. A lot of them are made out of like this weird like material. I don't know what it is.
Just like saws.
All right, so that was the medieval torture museum in St. Augustine. That was pretty good. I would recommend this over Ripley's. I mean, I would do both, but if you're more interested in Ripley's like torture stuff, this is better than what they have.
Yeah, I'd say this was better.
Yeah. Now it is like a little bit difficult to get to. You have to like park far away, and there's not really a lot of places to park near here, and then you have to walk down St. George Street to get to it. But I mean, if you're gonna be walking down St. George Street anyway, I would definitely recommend it. All right, I guess we're gonna go find some snacks or something, or something to eat.
That woman was like disgusted by this.
Oh yeah, that was funny. There was a woman in there, and she was like, "I think they went a little too far." So, is that what she said?
It's like, yeah, well,
She's like, "They went a
what do you
little
think
too
this is
far."
about?
Yeah, like why would you go to a medieval torture museum not expecting that stuff, right? But yeah, definitely a good attraction here in St. Augustine.
Oh my gosh, I'm wiped.
Yeah, I think we'll just go get something to eat and then go back to the car. All right, so we just went to this drink stand here, like on St. George Street, and got these amazing looking Dole. Well, you got the Dole Whip, right? And I got a pina colada with a pop tail, like an alcoholic popsicle.
I love pineapple.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm like so thirsty, and I wanted ice cream, so this is like the perfect thing. And I love pina colada. So. All right, so I'm halfway done this, and I'm gonna say this is the best frozen treat I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, this just blows a Disney Dole Whip like so far out of the water. First of all, you got like the best Dole Whip ice cream I've ever had.
I've never had this.
So, sometimes you get Dole Whip and it's really sour and like sherbety. This isn't. This is like ice cream with like a delicious like natural pineapple swirl, and then mine has coconut slush on the bottom with rum in it, and I haven't tried the popsicle yet, but I don't even care about that anymore. Like the drink is like the best frozen drink I've ever had in my entire life. It is so good. What was this place even called? It was just like a regular looking like ice cream stop. Yeah, I'll show it when we walk back around, but like I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near this good. I mean,
10 out of 10.
and I'm a pina colada aficionado, and like I've had so many different like frozen pina colada drinks. This is by far the best one I've ever had. It's so good. This is where we got this drink, Lick It, the original Lick It, Dole soft serve. So yeah, St. George Street is definitely something you want to do when you're in St. Augustine. There's a lot of good places to eat and a lot of good ice cream and frozen treats and stuff, and medieval torture museum. And yeah, another cool thing about it is a lot of these businesses, I think almost all of the businesses are in these old Spanish buildings and stuff, so it's got like a really cool atmosphere. So yeah, that pretty much concludes our day here at St. Augustine. Beautiful place, right?
Yeah.
Love it. I would live here if I could. You wouldn't want to live here?
Find a better job.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine it costs so much to live here, but I mean, if you know where to look, you can get decent hotel rates, especially off season. So I mean, anybody can come here. It's not like, I mean, a lot of people I think of this place as like, you know, the place for rich people, but you know, there's plenty of like affordable food options and stuff. I mean, there's pretty much everything you can think of to eat here, and there's so much to do. It's like one of my favorite places in the country, honestly. and probably my favorite place in all of Florida. So yeah, we're gonna go back to the motel now and just chill the rest of the night. We got a pretty long day ahead of us. We're gonna be driving down the Atlantic coast and then making our way over to Orlando. So yeah, we're gonna get some rest tonight.